Hello, Patriots. Gosh, I wish I fixed my hair. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, hello, Patriots. Welcome back. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Chaida. I'm a Black conservative commentator and writer, and this is my podcast where I discuss relevant issues surrounding people, society, culture, and politics. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like unfiltered commentary on everyday issues, I am your girl, and you need to hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. All right. Today's scripture you can find in Exodus 12. Exodus 12, and it says here in verse. Did I really wrote that? 49? Yes. Exodus 12, verse 49. And it says here, the same law applies both to the native born and to the foreigner residing among you. And I'm going to share a second scripture because I really want you guys to obtain a theme here. And if you go to Acts 17 and verse 26, let's see, verse 26, it says, from one man he made all the nations, that they should inhabit the whole earth. And he marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. That's beautiful. I want to share a video. And I'm going to share like right here, right now. And if you're watching this on YouTube or even on Spotify, if you're not listening to this on an audio, if you're listening to this on an audio, I'm going to describe it for you. Sorry. There's this video clip shows a woman who's illegally crossing our border, and by doing so, she brought her little girl, and she's trying to her and her little girl is climbing underneath some barbed wires, and the only thing protecting them and the only barrier protecting them is a cardboard box. So the cardboard box is holding up the barbed wire, so that way her and her little girl doesn't get scratched by the barbed wires, and they're just climbing through. And then people in the comment section of the video that was shared on social media were like, people do this, like people the comments were like, people only do this because they have to, or something to that phase. And or it's something like, well, she didn't have to do this if she didn't have to, or this is why we should be welcoming immigrants. And I feel like they're missing the point. Like this woman who's crossing our border illegally, who's smuggling herself and her child underneath some barbed wire just so she can come into the country. She did not have to do it. She didn't have to do this. No, she didn't. There are a lot of issues going on in the world. You go to other countries across the world, you're going to see violence. You're going to see gang activity. You're going to see injustices happening. That doesn't give people the right to come into our country illegally, whether they're smuggling themselves through, breaking in, or just waltzing right through. And it's about the principle. Like, just because your life is hard doesn't mean that you have to then burden yourself onto another nation. Back when former President Joe Biden was in office, him and Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, um, they did such a decimating job when it came to the border. They basically let the border wide open. Almost about 8 million people crossed the border illegally. Like there were 8 million people here illegally who just walked through the border because they did not, they just allowed people to just walk, allow people, they didn't believe in closed border. They didn't believe in structure. They didn't believe that our nation needed to have borders. And in the midst of all that, you have about 3,000 children, migrant children, who are now missing. When you have open borders, you are welcoming a certain type of chaos. You are welcoming cartels, you are welcoming gangs, you are welcoming coyotes who oftentimes SA women and children along the journey to America. And also trafficking. There's a lot of human trafficking going on in certain places around the world, and especially in Latin America. You get a lot of human trafficking. Human trafficking happens like everywhere. But immigration, when it comes to the this immigration issue, you see a lot of human trafficking taking place among the border. A lot of coyotes and cartels smuggle women and children here into the United States just so they could be trafficked. And so this was really reckless of the previous administration to leave our border open and inviting a lot of this chaos over and not reinforcing law and order. So when you think about it, there's 3,000, about 3,000 children are missing, and we're counting on immigration. Such as ICE, we're counting on Border Patrol agents, we're counting on other federal agencies to gain track of these children so we can find each and every single one. And not to mention, open borders just harms us as a nation. Without borders as a country, we do not have sovereignty. What if we are just going to be allowing everyone to come over here and just stay over here and not have like a set of principles, not have a set of laws, and not have a set of values? Then what makes us different than Canada? What makes us different than China? What makes us different than the United Kingdom? And I think what makes us different is because we have a United States Constitution. We have the Declaration of the Independence. But that can only go so far. Now you got people out here protesting in the street, calling for no kings, protesting the President Trump administration for having such a authoritative approach to policy, but they don't want to adapt to the fabric. They want to kind of lose the kind of stretch the fabric of what makes our country so great. But are welcoming a lot of these illegals and foreigners into the country who do not assimilate, who spit on our flags, who look down on us and our customs and everything and our principles, and they just want to take what they brought. They want to bring what they left from here and kind of create like little different small countries. And yes, the one thing about America is that any man from any corner of the earth can come here and become an American. And that's a beautiful thing. And when we think about the case that's going on Supreme Court with Trump versus Barbara and fighting back on birthright citizenship, that is so sacred. And I think going forward, people are like, no. The reason why we are America is because anyone who's born on our soil can become an American citizen. But you want to make that fight, but like, what is an American citizen? What makes us Americans? Is it because we have free speech? Is it because we have the Second Amendment? Yes, it's all of that, but we're losing the basic principle of what it means to be an American. We cannot be allowing all these foreigners flooding into our countries, not willing to assimilate, not willing to adapt to our custom, not willing to adapt to our culture, not willing to respect our repentables, our foundation, and everything that makes America a great place, and then be upset when the other guy, when President Trump wants to challenge why foreigners are having babies in America without having legal status, or without having proper documentation, so on and so forth. Because there is a lot of there are a lot of people here who come to this country, whether on a temporary visa or something else, and they decide to have a baby here because they know that, like, once they have the baby here, they cling to America, but they go years and years, decades even, without going trying to try for citizenship. And it's just like, this is a very problematic thing. They probably make a small fraction, but yeah, where do we go from here? So it's just like, yeah, without borders, we don't have sovereignty. And without that, we don't have a nation. You cannot be upset at President Donald Trump trying to challenge birthright citizenship when it comes to babies being born to quote unquote undocumented parents. And undocumented can mean a lot of things. But you can't be mad at him for doing that and then lose and then destroy the identity of what it means to be an American. That's it. That's all I got to share. Thank you so much for giving for thank you so much for listening. And if something in this episode really resonate with you, please like the episode, leave a comment, join in on this conversation, patriots. And I really want to get your thoughts on what you think about this whole immigration issue going on in America, as far as the Supreme Court case, Trump versus Barbara. And I'll see you guys next time. Go in peace. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to This Is Her America. We're here to have the conversations others are afraid to touch. If today's episode challenged you, encouraged you, or gave you a new perspective, do not keep it to yourself. Share it. Subscribe and join the conversation. Follow the podcast on YouTube and all major platforms and stay connected, because this isn't just commentary. This is conviction. Until next time, stay rooted in truth, be bold in faith, and unafraid to stand. This is her time. This is her America. From yours truly.